Home. It's the one place we all believe is private. It's where we laugh, relax, leave things lying around, and simply be ourselves. What if, for just a few minutes, your home wasn't private anymore? Not because someone broke in, not because you were hacked, and not because a camera was hidden somewhere, but because someone you love pressed one button: go live. Today's episode is different. The story you're about to watch is fictional, but every lesson is inspired by genuine online safety risks that families face every day. Let's begin. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Family Cyber Tips Weekly, episode 5, where we're protecting families one conversation at a time. Throughout this summer series, we've been looking at stories that remind us how quickly technology can change an ordinary day. Today's episode is a little different. Instead of telling one specific real-life case, we're going to explore a fictional story. Why, I hear you ask? Because sometimes the best way to understand a risk is to imagine it happening in a home just like yours. Everything you're about to see is fictional, but every lesson is real. There was nothing unusual about the day. Dad was outside washing the car. Mom was in the kitchen preparing dinner. Their 11-year-old son, Ethan, had finished his homework early. He'd spent the last hour watching videos online. He was bored. He wasn't looking for trouble. He wasn't trying to become famous. He simply wanted to do what he'd seen so many other young people doing. He picked up his phone, smiled, and pressed go live. At first, only 2 people joined. Both were friends from school. He laughed, showed them his football boots, his gaming chair, his bedroom, his medals. It all felt harmless. Then another person joined, and another, then another. He didn't know them, but he didn't think much about it. After all, they were not in his house, or so he thought. Still chatting, Ethan left his bedroom. He walked downstairs. The camera kept rolling as he passed through the hallway. The last live stream quietly captured family photographs, a school certificate hanging on the wall, Dad's company ID badge resting on a hallway table, a delivery box with part of the address showing. None of it stood out. None of it seemed important. It was just home. He walked into the kitchen. "Mom, say hello." She laughed, waved at the camera, then carried on cooking. She had no idea the live stream was public. Dad came in through the back door, still carrying the sponge from washing the car. "Finished already?" Ethan laughed. "No, I'm live." Dad smiled. "Oh," and carried on walking. He assumed it was just a video for friends. The comments kept appearing. "Nice house." Ethan smiled. "Another. Cool gaming setup." He thanked them. Then another. "That's a lot of football trophies." Still, nothing seemed strange. Until one comment appeared that made him stop reading loud. "I think I've seen that school badge before." He stared at the screen. His smile faded. Not because anyone had threatened him, not because anyone had done anything illegal, but because for the very first time he realized people were not just watching him, they were noticing everything around him. Ethan stood still. He looked at the phone again, then back at the comments. One message caught his attention. Cool. I think I've driven past that road before. He frowned. He wasn't frightened, just confused. How could someone know that? At that moment, Mom looked up from the kitchen. She noticed Ethan had gone unusually quiet. Mom, he said softly, can you look at this? She walked over. She didn't grab the phone. She didn't shout. She simply watched for a few seconds. Then she smiled gently and said, let's end the live stream for a moment. Ethan tapped end live. The room became quiet. Dad joined them at the dining table. The three of them replayed the live stream together. This time, they weren't watching Ethan. They were watching everything behind him. There it was. The family photos, the football trophies, school badge on his PE bag, the parcel sitting by the front door, the calendar on the kitchen wall, even view through the front window. None of those things seemed important on their own, but together they told a story. A story about where the family lived, what Ethan enjoyed, where he went to school, what days he played football, and what their home looked like inside. Mom looked at Ethan. She didn't say, you've been careless. She said, I don't think any of us realized how much the camera could see. Dad nodded. Neither did I. That moment changed the conversation. It wasn't about blame. It was about learning together. Let's pause the story because this is where many families discover something important. When children go live, they're usually focused on themselves, but the camera sees everything. Think about what might appear in the background of a normal family home. Perhaps family photographs, a school uniform, a certificate with a full name, a sports trophy, a delivery box, a calendar, a street visible through a window, or even something as simple as a routine like the time everyone comes home. Individually, these details might seem harmless. Together, they can reveal more than we intended. And that's why it's worth taking a moment to look beyond the person in front of the camera and notice what else is being shared. Let's consider the following tips, okay? Tip 1, pause before you go live. Ask yourself, what can the camera see behind me? You could also throw in a little addition to that. What can the camera see besides me? That rings true and rings better. Tip 2, check the background. Take 10 seconds to remove or cover anything that reveals personal information. Tip 3, know who can watch. If a platform allows you to limit your audience, use those privacy settings. Not every live stream needs to be public. Tip 4, create a family live stream rule. No one goes live until another family member has checked the background. A second pair of eyes often spots things the first person misses. Tip 5, remember, privacy isn't about hiding. It's about choosing wisely what you share, okay? Very important. Let's return to the story. That evening, nothing dramatic happened. Nobody knocked at the door. Nobody turned up at the house. Nobody was harmed. And that's exactly why this conversation mattered. The family learned an important lesson. Before something more serious had the chance to happen, the next weekend, Ethan wanted to live stream again. This time, he called out, "Mom, can you check the background?" She smiled up, walked into the room, moved a few things, closed one door, then said, perfect, Ethan pressed go live again. Only this time, he knew exactly what he was sharing and, more importantly, what he wasn't. Technology is not the enemy. Hear me again. Technology isn't the enemy. Live streaming isn't the enemy. Curiosity isn't the enemy. The real challenge is understanding that every camera tells a bigger story than we sometimes realize. And as parents, our role isn't simply to say no. It's to help our children ask better questions. Questions like, what can people see? What am I revealing? What can actually happen when this goes into the public domain? Who can actually watch this? Those simple questions can make a world of difference. If today's fictional story made you stop and think, why not have this conversation with your own family tonight? Walk through your home together. Open the camera on a phone and ask one simple question. What would someone else notice? You might be surprised by the answer. If you found today's episode helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the Family Cyber Tips Weekly podcast. And of course, subscribe to the channel itself, because every conversation we start today helps build safer habits for tomorrow. Together, we're protecting families, one conversation at a time. I've been your host, Lawrence E. Dem. Until next week, Monday at 6 p.m. God bless and goodbye.
Thank you.